and then we just crashed into it.
You turned on the light and you saw him.
Raina's, he's fucking nailing her, you know.
Yeah.
Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is...
This is Kevin Boston. He was captured on a police body cam, fleeing from a store without paying for the items. What followed was a chilling scene after he tried to pull a firearm on the officers. His case isn't the only one we'll look into today. Karina ended her husband and called the police, pretending to be unaware of what happened. Tom eliminated his ex-wife to keep secrets from coming out. Thankfully, they were all caught on camera. From a tragic roller coaster accident to cases of individuals whose lives were ended by strangers and relatives. These are the 6 most disturbing videos caught on camera. Humans are driven by different motivations and therefore have different passions. For Remy Lucidi, his was the love of heights. While some of us would tremble at the thought of a tall building, Remy spent his days looking for the next tall structure, whether a tower or a crane. Remy was willing to give it a shot, as long as it offered him and his fans that breathtaking view. Unfortunately, some passions come with risks, and tragically, sometimes accidents occur despite people's best efforts. Also known as Remy Enigma to fans online, especially on Instagram, Remy was born on February 23, 1993. He was a French military personnel who lived his life to the fullest, by embracing the risks that most would run away from. Remy started taking risks at an early age, but wouldn't start documenting his adventures until 2016. He was able to scale some of the world's impressive structures, including skyscrapers, cranes, buildings, towers, and bridges, all without any safety equipment. Remy was fearless, but he had so much more going for him. He had a unique eye for breathtaking photography, and was able to turn what many considered dangerous stunts into art. He regularly captured unique perspectives of landscapes that we would have never seen. No wonder he was able to command respect in the urban exploration community, while amassing more than 43,000 followers on Instagram alone. His social media accounts have pictures and videos that have been taken from impossible angles, and while most can be obtained with a drone, Remy prefers to go the extra mile out of sheer audacity. Remy traveled to 22 countries, including Bulgaria, Portugal, Ukraine, France, and Dubai, in search of the next tall building and a bigger challenge. He was never the one to back down. That's why Hong Kong remained his second home for a long time. The dense concentration of towering buildings and its vibrant urban energy was just what Remy needed to keep the adrenaline rushing. Each photograph represented physical skill, strength, agility, focus, hours of planning, and an understanding of the environment. On July 27, 2023, Remy made his way to the Tregonter Tower. This is a 721-foot-tall residential building within Hong Kong's mid-level area. Standing at 220 meters tall, the 68-story building offers a jaw-dropping view of the surrounding area. Reports said Remy gained access to the building after he informed the security guard that he was going to see his friend on the 40th floor. The authorities in Hong Kong said Remy had already gone up before the security guard could verify who the friend he wanted to see was. He used the elevator until he got to the 49th floor. Then, he was captured on the security footage using the stairwells that led to the top floor. What happened after that, and how Remy got outside the building, is unclear. However, around 7:30 p.m. local time, he was trapped outside on the 68th floor. As he looked for ways to get back inside the building, he found a maid inside and knocked on the window. Unfortunately, the maid was suspicious of the man outside the window at that height and refused to open the window. Instead, they called the police to report the incident, and Remy left them alone. Remy tragically lost his life a short while later, after losing his grip on the building and falling abruptly to the floor. The police received a call regarding a gas leak in the building. It appears he came in contact with a gas pipe and broke it during the fall. When the police arrived, they found the lifeless body of Remy alongside his camera, which had his previous activities on a nearby patio. Police also discovered a French identification card belonging to Remy. The incident sent shockwaves through social media, especially among his followers. Here was someone who had successfully climbed countless structures around the world. On another day, This would be just another climb with more amazing photographs. The tragedy also sparked discussion about the risks, with many disagreeing about whether it was a legitimate form of art and self-expression. Tributes poured in from around the world. One memorial described Remy as someone who had an insatiable passion for photography and noted how he had been embraced by the vibrant city of Hong Kong. Followers shared his images and remembered him as someone who pushed boundaries to show the world beauty from impossible angles. But this also highlights the dangers inherent in this pursuit. Unlike controlled extreme sports with safety protocols, urban exploration often involves navigating buildings and structures that weren't designed for climbing, without permission and without safety equipment. Remy's story forces us to grapple with questions about passion and risk. He wasn't reckless in the traditional sense. Instead, he was skilled, experienced, and had successfully completed hundreds of climbs. Yet he was engaged in an activity where even small mistakes or unexpected circumstances could prove fatal. Remy may have taken his last picture, but he undoubtedly saw the world from perspectives that only a few experience. He pushed his personal boundaries and captured beauty in unexpected places. His photographs weren't just a documentation of the extraordinary, they were art. In one of Remy's final images, Remy stood on a high structure in Bulgaria and captioned it, "Life is too short to chase unicorns." No doubt, a quote that mirrors his life. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you for a small favor. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. Our 100K special surprise was revealed, and we had many positive responses from you. Our next goal is to hit 200K before the year ends. It feels impossible, but hey, it's free to dream, right? Also, there's a hidden word somewhere in this video for you. Let's see if you can find it. Now, back to the video. Alton Towers is a renowned theme park and resort complex in Staffordshire, England, near Alton. Founded in 1980, the park has numerous attractions like the Smiler, Nemesis Reborn, Wicker Man, and many more. One of its biggest attractions at Alton Towers is the Smiler roller coaster. The ride holds the world record for the most inversions in a roller coaster since its opening in 2013. The closest ride is the 11th roller coaster at the Great Xingdong Tourist World in Guizhou, China. It has 11 inversions, but is not currently in operation. Others like Colossus and Crazy Coaster have 10 inversions. The Smiler enjoyed popularity due to its impressive features, but the scale became unprecedented after an accident that left multiple lifelong injuries in 2015. What many did not know was that it was already having problems even before the first ride, which led to the postponement of the opening. It also broke down during testing and an introduction event with journalists and celebrities present. A train was stuck for about half an hour, and those on board had to be helped down from the train. Understandably, this left many disappointed, with Toei actress Jessica Wright stating, "I feel sorry for Alton Towers. They've invested a lot of money into the ride, and there's going to be teething problems. It's really bad luck. It's a shame I didn't get to go on it. But I'm glad I was late because OMG, if I'd have been stuck on it, I would have freaked out. I'll definitely come back and go on it later in the year." Someone who was much closer to getting stuck with the train was rapper Tinchy Stryder. The star, who visited all the way from London, said, "I was in the carriage behind the one that broke down, so if I was 2 seconds earlier, I would have been stuck. I'm hugely disappointed I never got to go on it. It's called the Smiler, and I was sitting there thinking, what is there to smile about?" However, the Smiler still managed to get a positive response on its opening, thanks to the never-before-seen 14 loops. The attendance improved after that, but the disruptions continued during the first few days. The roller coaster was closed twice during the first 10 days, but bounced back after each disruption. The first one happened during an early morning test run, due to the empty trains, while they loaded water dummies to prevent a repeat. Another stall happened a week later, when the computer triggered unnecessary trim brakes that slowed and stopped the trains. One of these interruptions was perfectly normal for a newly installed roller coaster, but 2 in such close succession were a warning of impending danger. 3 more issues befell the Smiler throughout the year. Despite the occasional disruptions to the schedule, the ride continued to prove worthy of the hype. By 2015, the Smiler's queue increased, and the number of days between disruptions became longer. It had become the star attraction at Alton Towers, with waiting periods stretching between 60 to 80 minutes. June 2nd looked like any normal day to enjoy the ride. The queue was average, but the wind was a little above the usual. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, news spread that an incident had occurred at Alton Towers. When the park management confirmed the news, it turned out to be another disturbance with the Smiler. But this was nothing like the previous ones. This one was more serious. There had been a collision between two trains, causing critical injuries to several riders. The operators had just added an extra train to the ride. While this carrier was in circuit, they sent in another empty one to test run the ride. However, the operators did not factor in the extra gust of wind on the day. The wind was quite strong at 46 miles per hour. It affected the empty carriage, stalling and bringing it to a stop in the middle of the circuit. Ordinarily, this should not have been a problem. The ongoing train should not have come into contact with the stationary one because of the fail-safe function that comes with the ride system. Like all other modern roller coasters, the circuit has safety features that prevent collisions like this one. One of them is called the block system. It's a function that divides the roller coaster into blocks, such that only one train can stay on a block at a time. Subsequent blocks are separated by breaks or lift hills. When there's a train on the next block, the incoming carriage can be stalled to prevent collisions. The system is computer operated, and blocks containing trains can be automatically detected. The system also has a manual override that allows multiple trains to run on the circuit simultaneously. As the train containing passengers detected the stalled empty carriage, the ride was shut down accordingly. However, due to a break in communication between operators, the engineers on duty were unaware of the additional train that was stuck on the ride. So they overrode the block system, causing the train with riders to crash violently against the stalled one. Rescue operators were quickly called to the scene, as passengers remained trapped. Unfortunately, help did not come in time. Two of the passengers sitting in the front row, Leah Washington and Victoria Balch, suffered life-threatening injuries and required leg amputation. Others were also treated for minor injuries.
Just came around this corner and I saw a cart and I'm like, oh God, this ain't good. And then we just crashed into it. And then I started like getting pain, like I couldn't feel my toes. So I started to panic and I looked down at my legs and all like my left leg were like pushed up.
And how did you feel when he said that they were going to reopen the ride?
I was upset because obviously I don't want to hear that. It's still very raw. I don't want it reopened quite yet because I'm not ready to hear that.
The Smiler did not open until March 19, 2016. After adding extra safety features, the owners, Merlin Attractions Operations Limited, were prosecuted and fined £5 million after pleading guilty. Vicky and Leah also sued the company. In December 2002, 21-year-old Rachel reached an agreement with her boyfriend Mark. They had just gotten some pet cats and needed to take turns caring for them over the holidays. While Rachel stayed back to care for them on the eve of Christmas, Mark could go out to have fun. Then they'd reverse the roles when it was time for the new year. The Christmas one went well without any issues. On the 31st, Rachel set out to enjoy her time with friends and brother John. After dancing and a few drinks, Rachel and her brother headed home to spend the rest of the night with the rest of their family. They got home around 1:15 a.m., and John went straight to his room. Rachel stayed up with her mom, Wanda, and the two chatted for a while. During the chat, Wanda urged her daughter to call her boyfriend, who was at home with the cats, to wish him a happy new year. Rachel agreed. However, she didn't get an answer when she called their home phone, so she dialed his mobile number. Someone answered the call, but it wasn't Mark, but a mutual friend. In the call background was a loud noise that sounded like a party. The friend explained that Mark accepted a last-minute invitation to a party. It meant that the cats were alone at home. Rachel, frustrated and disappointed, stormed up the stairs to her room and showed up minutes later, dressed up. She informed her mom that she was going home to be with the pets. Her mom thought the weather was harsh and urged her to stay, but Rachel didn't want the cats to be without any care. Wanda also thought getting taxis wouldn't be easy since it was New Year's Eve, but her daughter assured her she would be okay. As they bid themselves goodbye outside the house, a man walked by, and Wanda wanted him to walk with her daughter to keep her safe. However, she changed her mind and let the man be. 30 minutes after her departure, Wanda called Rachel, but couldn't connect. This went on for over 1 hour. No message or call from Rachel, no answer on any of her phones. Wanda figured out Rachel might have gone to look for Mark. She decided to try again in the morning and went to bed. Wanda was woken up by a call. She was relieved as she hastened up to pick up the call, but it was Wanda, Rachel's sister. The worried Wanda informed her husband Ray and John that she had not heard from Rachel. They all tried calling her, but couldn't connect, so they called her home phone one more time. There was an answer this time, but again, it wasn't Rachel. It was her boyfriend Mark, who was surprised to find out Rachel was supposed to be there. He had not seen her, and it didn't look like anyone had been at their house all night. The cats were also unattended when he arrived after partying. They all realized that Wanda could be in danger and reported her missing to the police. The police spoke with everyone and looked into the activities of Mark, but he had a solid alibi. When the investigators turned to the CCTV cameras, they saw her in one footage and figured out her route. Police started searching around the area as her family made media appearances to appeal to the public for help. On January 11, 2003, police were searching the nearby canal and drains when they discovered Rachel's shoe and handbag. The bag had her Irish passport, phone, and makeup kit. They had been discarded for the purpose of concealing them. Police had an officer dressed like Rachel to jog people's memory. Then, they got another CCTV footage from the school. The footage was poor, but police say the person could be Rachel. Who was now just 200 meters from her house. The route differed from the one the police thought she took, and another person could be seen going towards Rachel. This was the last time she appeared on camera. Police knew they had to focus their efforts on that area. So another round of searching began, but this time, they decided to search people's houses within a mile and a half of the place. Extra manpower and resources were deployed to the search. When searching a house on 19 Nash Court, they found the owner, a young man, and a male friend. The place was noticeably dirty with garbage lying around. They didn't find Rachel while searching, but the house had a bin cupboard attached to the house. They became suspicious when the owner seemed reluctant to release the key. First, he claimed not to have the key. Then, he said it was with his mom. After the man got them the key, they discovered more trash inside. As they removed some of the junks to check inside, they got the shock of their lives: a human leg. The rest of Rachel's body was found in the cupboard. The sight was grim. The owner, 23-year-old Michael Little, was arrested after he told them his friend wasn't involved. In his chat with one of the investigators, he said he was happy the cops finally found Rachel, and that he's been looking for ways to tell someone. However, he told two other contrasting stories after that. He also stated that he killed Rachel in self-defense, but examination of her body showed otherwise. Michael was rejected by a woman on New Year's Eve. He was coming from a party when he came across Rachel. Incredibly, he was the same man Wanda wanted to tell to walk with Rachel. The CCTV footage showed Michael walking behind Rachel on the same night. Investigators said Michael abducted and killed her after he approached her and got rejected. Michael was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 25 years. On the early morning of June 18, 2021, the Tama County Sheriff's Office in Traer, Iowa, received a disturbing 911 call from a woman who sounded completely shattered. You could hardly make out what the person was saying, but in between the screams, a woman managed to tell the operator that her husband had been shot and that there was blood all over the place. When police arrived at 1846 K Avenue, they met the woman who made the call. Her name was Karina Cooper. Her husband, who had been shot, was Ryan Cooper. Police also found another man at the scene. He was Aaron Cooper, the brother of the deceased. Karina called Aaron, who lived close to them, before calling the police, and Aaron had shown up with his 9mm handgun.
Where's the guy that got shot? My brother's in the living room. With the other deputy? No.
There was a loud noise. I thought something fell.
Then what happened?
I peeked in the living room and then I went to the kitchen. I was fighting.
You didn't hear or see anyone else?
No, what if they're here?
What?
What if they're here?
But you didn't actually see anybody?
No.
Okay. So did he do that to himself?
No way. No way.
Okay. And you came out and he was like that? You turned on the light, you saw him?
Inside the house was Ray Cooper, dead from 2 gunshot wounds, on the recliner. There was no murder weapon.
What do I do?
Hey, listen. We're here, okay? I'm here for you. Could the thing that you thought so? Possibly been a gunshot?
I don't know.
Okay. Karina, I need you to sit up. Karina, I need you to sit up, okay?
Only a shell casing close to Ryan. The first officer to arrive at the scene asked Aaron some questions. Then he asked Karina to explain what happened. According to her, she was sleeping with the 3 kids when a loud noise woke her up. She said she thought it was one of the items that had fallen over in the bathroom some days before. It was intact. She walked around their home, looking for where the noise came from. The room, the living room, the kitchen, nothing. Then she returned to the living room, turned on the light, and saw her husband with blood all over him. Later that morning, investigators invited her to the police station, and she repeated the same story. Then she claimed she didn't hear or see anything else.
Got up and I peeked in the living room and he was laying there, and I went to the kitchen and turned the light on in the living room, and then
Okay.
I looked in there first before I went to the kitchen, and it looked like he was sleeping.
Okay.
I just went over and saw him. It just looked like he was sleeping.
Okay.
And then I walked up to him and I just put their blood like everywhere. Like a lot.
Detectives wanted to know whether the couple had issues, but Karina said they didn't. However, Aaron mentioned to the cops that Ryan had seen a strange Snapchat exchange between his wife Karina and a young man, Huston Danker. When Karina was asked, she denied having an affair.
What can you tell me about your relationship with Houston?
Dangle?
Yeah.
My friend?
Okay.
Saying it was an image mistakenly sent to her by Huston. Huston was a customer at her salon, and the two started a friendship that led to Karina helping him babysit his kids.
And I'm going to be blunt with you and be forward with you. The only reason we ask is Aaron made mention about maybe Ryan seeing something on your Snapchat. Not that that was Houston, but maybe there was something with your Snapchat.
Last fall, there was a Snapchat that wasn't even meant for me.
Okay, tell me about that.
Supposedly, Ryan saw it, not me. And he told me about it. It was something about a married woman and naked, seeing her naked or something like that.
Okay.
And Ryan saw it and confronted me, and I confronted Houston, who were friends on Snapchat, and that's it.
Has Houston seen you?
No, God no.
Huston was invited by the police. He also denied the affair, claiming it was nothing but a rumor going around town. Truly, several people in the town believed they were having an affair. Also, the Cooper family had financial issues, and Karina wasn't making much from her salon.
The rumor that's going around is Ryan, or you and Karina were Snapchatting. Did that actually happen at some point?
Yeah. You know, she watched my kids a couple times when I was in a tent. And then it fucking, you know how small towns talk, you know.
Exactly.
Houston's kids are over at Karina's. He's fucking nailing her, you know.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I'll put it this way. I'll completely dumb it down.
The police continued their investigation. A $17,000 reward was announced for anyone with helpful information. 2 years passed without a breakthrough, but the investigation continued behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Karina Cooper also got $500,000 in life insurance money after her husband's passing. She opened 3 businesses with the money, but the 3 didn't last long. Police had taken custody of Karina's phone, but noticed someone had deleted the Snapchat account from another device. This was incriminating, as it showed Karina was hiding something she didn't want the police to see. When they spoke with some friends of Karina, they learned that she had withdrawn from all their groups some days before her husband's death. When police eventually recovered Karina's Snapchat, they discovered what she was hiding. The messages between Karina and Huston showed that the two were having an affair. They repeatedly referred to each other as husband and wife, and called Ryan a sperm donor. They called Ryan's kids our kids, with Karina telling her boyfriend he could do anything with them. The two also shared several embarrassing messages. However, those were not the messages that got the most attention from the police. In one of their chats, Huston typed, "Remember time casings, no ifs and or buts." One of Karina's messages read, "Fuck, hate him," referring to Ryan. The shell casing found on the scene matched one of the guns Huston gifted a work friend. Karina's phone showed that he had not been sleeping on the night of the murder, like she claimed. Huston's phone placed him near the Cooper's house throughout the day, and some minutes before the crime, police concluded that Karina shot Ryan and handed the gun to Huston. Then, she waited a while before calling Aaron and 911. The first officer at the scene and Aaron also mentioned that Ryan's blood was already darkening and clotting when they arrived, despite it only being a few minutes. According to Karina, the police arrested Karina and Huston. During her trial, Karina said she believed Huston killed her husband and that he had threatened her to keep it a secret. However, she was found guilty of first-degree murder. The crime carries a life prison sentence, but she will be formally sentenced in September 2025.
Form of verdict 2, we the jury find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025.
In August, Huston pleaded guilty to helping Karina end her husband's life. On a 2020 episode of Family Feud, veteran host Steve Harvey was ready for another entertaining show, but one of the contestants, Tim Bleefnick, had his own plans to raise the stakes. He was asked what the biggest mistake he made at his wedding was. The answer he gave? It not only shocked the whole world, but it also came back to reveal his dark side years after the show.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. I love my wife. I'm gonna get in trouble for that, aren't I?
Yeah. Tim Bleefnick was a 40-year-old married man and father of 3. His wife, Becky Bleefnick, was a nurse, with whom Tim shared animosity. The two met in 2013 as students. Becky was studying bioscience when she came across Tim in class. They started talking and clicked immediately after discovering they had shared interests like fitness. They got married a while later and had 3 children. Becky was now a pharmaceutical sales representative, but in 2019, Becky decided to switch careers after a friend of hers lost a child to serious health issues. Becky went back to school and became a nurse, but with this new professional came the need to work extra hours. Tim wasn't happy with his sudden increase in responsibilities. After the Family Feud episode with Tim, it became clear to Becky that the love had faded away in their marriage. Over a year later, Tim filed for divorce. He moved away but stayed closer to them because of the kids. The terms of divorce dealt the final blow to their relationship. Tim wanted 60% custody, their house, and many other things that Becky considered extreme. Each party tried to obtain an order of protection against the other, but neither was successful. In her request, Becky alleged that Tim falsified their interactions and entered her residence without permission. The court asked Tim to return a gun gifted to her by Becky, but he claimed he had not seen it for a while. In 2023, matters shifted toward the disturbing when the teachers at their children's school waited for Becky to come pick up the kids. It was past her normal arrival time, but Becky was not in sight. She had not informed anyone that she'd be late, or sent anyone to fill in for her. Things weren't looking great, so the teachers contacted the father, Tim. Tim knew this was entirely out of character. Becky would never forget or refuse to come for her kids at the right time, and he couldn't understand why she was not there or picking up his calls. So he messaged her dad Bill to check on her. When Bill got to her house at 2500th Block, Kentucky Road, Quincy, Illinois, he noticed how everywhere was silent, almost like Becky had gone out but the doors weren't locked. Worried and scared, Bill called out as he made his way around the house. Upstairs in Becky's room, Bill was confronted with a grim sight. Her daughter's body, lifeless in her bedroom, surrounded by her own blood. He called 911 to report the incident. Becky had been shot 15 times, with only one missing.
911?
Yeah. Found my daughter here in the house.
And so she's not awake and she's not breathing?
I tried to wake her.
When police arrived, they found signs of forced entry as one of her windows had been destroyed. Her body had multiple wounds, and some objects were scattered around her. Unfortunately, there was no murder weapon or DNA found at the scene. Locating the perpetrator was going to require enormous work. However, they discovered another crucial piece of evidence. On the floor, just behind the bathroom door, was Becky's phone. Meanwhile, Bill was tasked with the difficult work of informing the family. When he did, the family was devastated, but one of them knew where to start looking for the killer. Becky's sister, Sarah Riley, thought it was the victim's ex-husband, Tim Bleefnick. but there was no evidence tying him to the crime. Sarah was determined to help investigators bring her sister's killer to book. Thankfully, she had capable hands in charge of the case. State Attorney Joshua Jones and her assistant Laura Keck. Josh and Laura started by combing through Laura's phone. At first, valuable information was scarce, but Becky had left some hints and directions. One of the more pointed ones was a text message by Becky. "If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number one person of interest is Tim, as that is who would do something to me." Investigators started following Tim, after fears that he may harm the kids grew. One day, when he was supposed to take the kids to school, he approached Becky's house and parked there. Tim was arrested without bond, leaving investigators to produce concrete evidence against him in 3 months. They were able to secure a warrant to search Tim's house, leading to the discovery of an empty gun safe and 54 shell casings that matched the one from the crime scene. Another item found at Tim's house was loads of Aldi bags, pieces of which were found at the scene. Prosecutors said he used the bags to muffle the gunshot sound and/or retrieve his shell casings. Then, they reached out to the people who lived close to Becky's house. Matching the gun advanced their cause, but it wouldn't do much compared to CCTV footage, placing Tim at the place and time of the attack. One of the footage they got showed someone walking around Becky's driveway at a strange time on the days leading up to the crime. Strangely, Tim's digital devices were not used when the person appeared on the footage, but were in use shortly after. Some other footage showed someone riding a bike around Tim's house to Becky's. They were able to recover a similar bike trashed near Tim's house, and Tim's phone had a burner Facebook account used to purchase the bike. Tim's phone had more evidence. His search history showed that he wanted to know how to make a homemade silencer, how to wash off gunshot powder residue, how to force a door open, and the average response time for the police. As for the motive, Becky's phone showed that she disagreed with Tim regarding bringing her kids near Tim's father. The subject was one of the things that would come up during their divorce hearing, which was scheduled for a week after she died. Prosecutors said Tim silenced his ex-wife because he didn't want some information getting out. The jury found Tim guilty of ending his wife's life. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Around 1 p.m. on June 26, 2022, a 911 call reached the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. It was from a Food Lion store on Tuckasegee Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. A man identified as Kevin Boston had filled up a cart with items. When it was time for him to pay, he brandished a firearm and was allowed to leave the premises.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or
Police.
medic?
Where do you need them?
At 4709 Tuckasegee Road, Food Lion.
What's wrong there?
A guy just pushed out a whole shopping cart load of groceries. We tried to make a stop, and he pulled a weapon, or brandished his weapon in his pocket.
What does the suspect look like?
He is a 6'2", 6'3", tall black gentleman, heavier build. He's got looks like a straw-looking hat on with another shirt tucked over his shoulders, like tied around his shoulders.
What color?
He's carrying two. It's a black, green, and blue. And he's carrying 2 Food Line reusable shopping bags full of my product.
Where's he at now?
He just took a left on Tuckasegee out of my parking lot, walking up Tuckasegee going towards Little Rock.
What kind of weapon did he have?
He had a handgun, and it's in his right front pocket.
Responding to the armed robbery call, Officer Eric Torres and Officer Richard Meyer met Kevin on a sidewalk near the store, carrying 2 bags of groceries. As the first officer approached him for a chat, he quickly reached for his gun in his front right pocket. Officer Torres also brought out his firearm and moved away from Kevin to put some distance in between them. He continued to do so until he got cover behind his patrol car.
Hey boss, mind if I talk to you real quick? Alright, oh shit, hands, hey, we got gunpoint. Hey, back up. Headquarters, we need one. Hey, drop this gun! Drop the gun!
Officer Meyer also drew his gun, and Kevin was now holding his own firearm in his right hand. The two officers taking cover behind the car shouted orders at Kevin to drop his gun, but he ignored them. Kevin continued walking away. At one point, he turned to look at the officers with his gun still in his hand. That was when Officer Torres fired at him. He still continued walking away for a moment before pointing his gun back at the officers.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop it! Oh God, he's still pointing! He's still pointing! Oh, stop pointing! Shots fired! Shots fired! All right, hold your hands up!
The two officers started shooting at Kevin until he fell to the ground. Kevin fired a shot at the officers, who continued shouting for him to drop his gun. When Kevin refused to do so, the officers considered him a threat and continued to fire at him.
All right. Just don't go for the gun again. Stay right there, sir. Stay right there. Just stay right there, please. Just don't go for the gun again.
Hey, pull back. You got a rifle on.
Okay. Don't go for the gun again! Don't go for it again! Don't do it! Just don't do it! You don't need to! Stop! Hey, am I backing up?
Kevin was transported to the hospital but was pronounced dead after being hit by 6 bullets. According to the State Bureau of Investigation, Officer Eric Torres fired 11 shots and Officer Richard Meyer fired 2.
All right, put that on him. Can I have that heart monitor, sir? Yeah, you can pick it with your hands. All right, so how many? I've lost count.
1, 2, 3,
2 to the chest.
4, 2 in the side, 2 in the side here. 2 on that right side of the chest, 1 in the left upper arm, 1 down here in the left lower leg, 2 in the chest. 1, 2, 3.
All right, they're requesting the 2 other trucks just to check the officers that weren't involved.
Gotcha.
Yeah? Oh, that's fine. All right. Hey, y'all got any hand sanitizer?
One to the big house?
Yeah, and you said you got good lung sounds, correct?
Yeah, good lung sounds. Got your scope on?
Kevin Boston was a 45-year-old man who had 3 children aged 13, 14, and 18. His family described him as a family man, wondering if the police could have handled the altercation without getting him killed. They also said he struggled with mental health issues and had issues with the police department in the past. However, after an internal investigation, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department announced that there wouldn't be disciplinary actions against the officers because they were deemed to have acted correctly to an active threat. The Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office also investigated the incident, reaching a conclusion that the officers will not be prosecuted. The initial information released by the department claimed the officers fired in response to a shot by Kevin. Investigation found that this may not have been the case. However, the officers still needed to defend themselves and others in the area because Kevin proved to be a threat. With that grim footage comes the end of this episode. If you had a good time here, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel as well. We upload almost daily videos like these, so you don't want to miss out. If you don't want to wait till the next video, there will be more videos on your screen in about 3 seconds. I'll see you there. I'm out.